Welcome back to In Camera. Our guest tonight, Lydia Armstrong. A profound change in your life. You were in southern Rhodesia with the blacks and the whites. The racist situation was there at the time or not quite? Because that was before Ian Smith.
Everything looked very peaceful. Everyone knew their place. People that worked in their homes, they were allowed out from one house to the other. People that worked in the offices, by 6:30 they had to go to their compound. So you mainly saw white people. It was a lovely country for young people, like New Zealand is nowadays. And it was, of course, very exciting for me, away from home, everything different. Although I had no money, if I wanted an ice cream, I had to walk. And if I had to go in the bus, I couldn't have the ice cream, and I adore ice cream. But the people were very nice. I worked in a driving school, and when I asked them, how old are you, they would open their mouth so that I would say how old they were by counting their teeth. Or they would say, when the Duke of so-and-so or the Prince so-and-so came over here, I was born. So at that time they didn't know. The women were never seen in town. They were looking after the young ones up in their chambers, in their little compounds. It was all very, very different, and not very natural way of living, really.
So did you feel the racist element in the apartheid?
Yes, with a few South Africans that were there. Yes, they went out of the place, and although you were not told to, it was not looked, you weren't doing the correct thing if you had colored people into your homes. If I socialized with my dentist, it was very nice. He was a lovely man, and he was an Indian man, and he came to my house, and I was told off. This sort of thing did happen, but it was not really official.
Not like in South Africa?
No, not like in South Africa. It was the same thing in Nairobi, but it was there.
Because you went to Nairobi
afterwards,
later.
yes.
But your next, that was in fact your next trip.
No,
from Rhodesia you went
Rhodesia,
to Kenya.
Because you see, what happened was that Jack stayed in Rhodesia because as he was too young to get married, it was something like in the army, you had to be 25 before you were allowed married quarters and things like that. He preferred to be in one place, and that's why he settled down for Rhodesia. Whilst I came back after 2 years of married life, because I'd lost my grandfather, and whilst I was here, he rode back to Cable and Wireless, and they accepted him back, having lost all his seniority, and he was then sent to Nairobi. So from Gibraltar, I joined him in Nairobi.
In Nairobi.
Yes.
And in Kenya, as it was then, now they call it Kenya.
Yes.
That was before independence, but
Yes.
that was the time of the Mau Mau.
Of the Mau Mau. That's well. When we arrived, no. For a few months it was fine, and then the Mau Mau situation started. Yes. And then it got very bad.
That must have been very scary.
It was indeed. We were given issued guns and taught how to use them. We were issued whistles that we usually had around our necks.
To sound the alarm, basically.
Yes, and we were told that if we saw a crowd of African men coming, because they were, as I say, women were not there, we had to lock ourselves in, and we couldn't, it was no use calling our servants, because they wouldn't come, because they would kill them.
For serving the whites and
yes,
the British.
They would kill them if they came to our help. So once you were in the house, you locked yourself in and hoped for the best. It was very trying. When I had Liana, I
was going to say you had no children by then.
By then I had Liana. She was born in Nairobi, and I had two African askari, two African policemen, in the labor room whilst I was delivering my baby, because part of the last oath that the Kikuyus used to take, the Mau Mau.
The Kikuyu is the tribe
that were mostly
that became Mau Mau.
Yes. The last one was they would eat part of the afterbirth or of the baby, and so we were very guarded. Yes. they used to make the different oaths. I think it was 7 oaths, and they used to have scars on their feet to show how far into it they were.
Did you lose any friends, or did you know of people who were put through the machetes by the
No, we
Mau
had
Mau?
a lot of people, and we saw a lot of, because we had lots of friends in the the inspector of the police, and they used to come home, and they used to show sometimes horrific photographs of people that had been killed and burnt. I never eat suckling pigs
You were completely put off.
since then, because everything is not nice.
But very beautiful countries, no?
It's
Both
gorgeous.
Rhodesia
Yes,
and Kenya.
yes, it was lovely. But in Kenya, of course, I mean, you could go down to Mombasa, and you can go up into the hills, and Lake Naivasha with all the flamingos. I mean, it was beautiful. It was
But
really
you must have
beautiful.
also picked up a lot of friends
Oh,
in
yes,
those
of
years.
course. I had, because I was dancing then professionally. I was in that bohemian crowd. It was a lovely crowd, very friendly, and it didn't matter if you were English, French, or anything, and it didn't even matter what color you were, really. And we had a lovely time.
When you say dancing professionally, what happened? You studied dance?
Oh, I danced all my life, and I was the first Gibraltarian dance teacher after the war here in Gibraltar.
What
People
sort of
have
dance?
forgotten. I had lots of pupils. Sylvia Randall was one of my pupils.
She was on television for many years, Sylvia.
Well, she was one of my pupils. A lot of them came to me. Lilian Ramadan, Denelul was another pupil. I had.
What sort of dance did you teach?
I was, funnily enough, I was teaching ballet, and I was teaching my what I knew best, which was Spanish dancing. And
Sevillanas or flamenco
no,
dancing?
I went to study in Sevilla. I went to study under Enrique Jiménez de Mendoza El Cojo, who also taught La Duquesa de Alba. In fact, I met her there whilst I was learning. And I also went with Eloisa Dalbenis, because my father wouldn't allow me to dance, and Jack did, you see. That was the difference. I started giving classes, and then when I got married, I started dancing professionally in Rhodesia, and then again in Nairobi, and then I danced in Brazil. I danced a lot.
Don't go so fast. So you became a professional dance
Yes.
teacher, and did you make a living through that, apart from your husband's career?
No, there was not enough. First, during the daytime until 4:30 or 5 o'clock, I was working in an office. Then I used to teach dancing, and if there was anything that I could get, I worked very hard. I would appear in the nightclub or in the theaters.
You moved on to Spain for a short
year,
while,
yes.
but of course it was nowhere near here. It was,
No, it was in Galicia,
the other
yes,
extreme, in
yes.
Vigo, in Galicia.
Yes.
That is an interesting area, isn't it?
It's a beautiful place. People are very
Like
different.
Scotland, it rains.
That's right. And the bagpipes.
It's green.
Yes, a beautiful Las Rias. It was very beautiful as
And
well.
beautiful seafood.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
So you enjoyed that?
Yes. Well, I've enjoyed everywhere I've been. There's been good and bad things everywhere.
Your next step was an exotic country, Brazil.
Brazil.
Rio de Janeiro.
Yes.
So what happened there? Tell me about Rio de Janeiro.
There,
Did you do the samba there?
I tell you what happened there. I'm better than doing the samba. In there, I turned from the ugly duckling into a sexy little young lady.
What do you mean an ugly duckling?
I used to be the ugly duckling of the family.
But Jack
and
was,
over there, they cut
Jack was
my
chasing.
hair.
I don't believe Jack was chasing the ugly duckling. I don't believe that.
And I became different.
You became different in Brazil.
Oh, yes. I felt good.
So you took to samba and to football, which are the two religions of
football,
Brazil.
though, was a very bad experience. A very good friend of the family took me to see the game between England and Brazil. And of course, by this time, I already looked a bit Brazilian, and I spoke Portuguese like a Brazilian. And every time I applauded for the British, The Brazilian looked at me as if saying, "What is she doing?" My friend wanted some ice cream, and his wife and I went to get it, and there was no ice cream. So I saw a British flag, you know, Union Jack, and I said, "I'm going to buy it." And then Pelé, who was playing, he was really very good. He was like,
indeed,
he was like a ballet dancer, and he had a goal. And Fafa said, turned around to me and said, "You see, we are the best." And it's boomba with the flag. I wasn't very sporting, and I hit him with the flag. That's the only time I went to a football game.
So Brazil was an exciting time for you.
Oh yes, yes. There's sambas and the mau. They're not the mau, the macumba.
The macumba, the black magic.
Yes.
That's scary. What contact did you have with that?
One New Year's Eve, instead of going anywhere else, we went to see what happened on the beach. And the whole beach is full of candlelight, and the macumbeiras are dressed in the white, and the one that is the devil in red, and there's a terrific atmosphere. At one point, we all started running because it was
scary.
Too much. Yes.
Really,
you sense it, yes.
Because they're very influenced by that, of course.
Very much.
You moved on to Puerto Rico,
yes.
which is similar to Gib in the English
very
and Spanish.
Much so. Yes.
They speak,
yes.
they're bilingual like we are, so you must have been quite
and the people
settled
like
there.
we were, very family orientated, very religious. The girls, and Liana as well, would say, "Bendición, mamá," and I would say, "Que Dios te bendiga," every time she left. It was a different way, which was very welcomed, because in Brazil we were becoming a little bit, we were beginning not to know what was the right and the wrong. You get influenced and you take things for granted as if it was the correct thing, and it's not.
Brazil is a bit of a crazy country.
Yes, very much so.
Then you went to Peru.
Yes.
Again, a fascinating country,
Peru
isn't it?
is
with the
my,
Machu Picchu and all that.
Yes. I miss and I have great saudades of Peru. It's the one place that whilst I was there, I wasn't very much enamored, because we have very bad weather. For 9 months of the year, it's like the weather here in Gibraltar when we have the Levant. It doesn't rain, but it's very fine. Well, I don't know what you can call it, because it's like
drizzle.
A spray. But it wets you if you're out all the time. And it's very humid. And then you have the sun, and at the time we were there for 3 months of the year, and then you get the horrible smell, not now any longer, but at the time, of the fish meal. And it was horrible. It was really horrible. But somehow it touched me so much that it's the place we keep on going back to.
Really?
Yes.
It draws you back.
Yes, it's.
But where to Lima?
We go back to Lima, and then we go to little places nearby, and it's so, the people are so well educated. The culture, everything is gorgeous. So different. We were thinking of buying a place there some time ago, and then what can we do away from everybody? And also they have lots of earth tremors. So,
but Peru has been significant in your life.
Beautiful for me, yes.
Then you moved across the world, totally to the other side, to Asia.
Yes.
And you went to the Philippines.
Yes.
Again, an interesting country with its Spanish culture, and its English, American
yes.
culture.
And also, believe it or not, a bit like the Gibraltarians in the way they speak. For example, when I was redoing the house and I wanted to buy curtain rings, I asked a local friend if she'll come with me, and she said yes. And she went to the shop and she said, "Meron ring cortinas." The only word that was in Tagalog was meron. Have you?
Tagalog is their language.
Yeah. Rings, which is in English. Cortina, which
Spanish.
is in Spanish.
So you had quite some time there, and you came across a Gibraltarian. Tell me about that.
Yes, my dear Sol.
Sol Cerrulla, who was the ambassador for Israel.
No, he wasn't then. He came afterwards. In fact, we left before he came, but because I had a contract with the Manila Mandarin Hotel to set up the health club there, I had to come back. And when I came back, he was already the ambassador there. And he came to visit me on his own. And the lady said, "I'm sorry, I can't call Mrs. Armstrong because she's given orders that she sees no man on his own." So he had to go back home and come back with Susan.
His daughter. But why? That was a very strict thing.
I did not want to have, I had lived there for 4 years and everybody respected me a lot. I was in the hotel. The hotel up to then, the health club did not have a very good name. The other hotels were doing other services. And we wanted to make it straight and correct. We had a reputation to uphold. And I had to set the first example.
So Saul, the ambassador himself, His Excellency, was
he
told he couldn't come in.
He's all that and my excellent friend.
But you became good friends after
No, we
that.
were friends before. He used to play, although he's only a few years older than me, he used to play tennis with my father and my mother. So I've known him practically all my life. Him and the Benaims and Nora Ben Sakem, they were all...
A happy family, virtually.
Yes,
From the Philippines to Hong Kong.
yes, that's right.
Fascinating place, of course,
Yes.
and with similarities to Gibraltar, other than the Chinese element in Asia, because of the British colonial
Yes,
situation.
that is, yeah.
How was Hong Kong for you?
Well, the first year I was coming and going from the Philippines. A lot of my friends from the Philippines had also been transferred. They were like us. They'd been transferred to Hong Kong. So when I came back to stay for good, I already had friends there. I could not settle down just being a housewife. So I started giving classes in my house. I had a very big, beautiful flat, and I turned the biggest room into a gym place. And then I had an offer to appear on television in Hong Kong, and I did Keep Fit with Lydia for RTV Hong Kong.
So that was your real profession.
Yes.
I mean, keeping people fit, healthy.
Yes.
And why do you call it this exotic name, sexometrics,
Sexometric.
which makes people raise their eyebrows? What's that about?
Well, at one point in my life, I had problems, women problems, and I was told to go on all fours and do the pelvic tilt exercises and to concentrate the inner muscles. And I started incorporating them into my exercises, and I work. For example, I'm here and I could be doing exercise. I can go like this, and I am working on this section, and it looks quite good. No tummy, nice, and you're doing it all the time, and you're doing the pelvic movement, and it helped a lot of people that were wanting to have children. To have them when they had not been able to. So I got a terrific reputation. I had all sorts of people coming over. Nothing to do with me, it had to do with the husband. But they found it helped them. And it also improved their sex life. So, but I wasn't teaching them anything about sex. I was just making it better for them.
A more natural approach.
Yes. And I did go to talk to lectures and take part in several discussions with doctors, and they used to send me people that were menopausing and they were not feeling too good, and they would come, and I had different sections, the prenatal and postnatal exercises. That's what I did.
So there was a scientific basis to your approach to this sexometric system?
Well, it's, in Hong Kong and in the Philippines, they work a lot with a sex organ region. Can I go on?
Yes, of course you can.
The Filipino woman is renowned for their sexual power. They make people go crazy, like Isabel Presley, who can get anywhere because of it, so they say. A lot of the other visiting European women were scandalized. I said, well, instead of being scandalized, let's find out what they do. Some of the gynecologists there, they have little equipment that you can insert and you can contract to hold, so that you're strengthening those muscles down there. So if you can do that, or do like some of the girls on shows did, smoke a cigarette, if they can do that with a cigarette, well, imagine how happy a man can be.
So you're talking of sexual techniques?
Yes, and that's what they do.
From the East, from the Philippines?
Yes.
Which were applied with a scientific base, I mean.
Yes, of course.
And you did that in Hong Kong on television? You taught on television?
You speak to them, you explain to them, you make them feel, the doctor here, if you go and you have any problems, they tell you, you're going to the bathroom, you stop urinating and feel, and then let go and feel.
Control over your body, over your muscles.
And the gynecologist in Hong Kong itself used to say you should be doing at least 100 of those contractions each time you have a shower. Because you keep yourself well. It doesn't think about sex.
No,
but
it makes your body healthy.
Yes.
And you applied that to Gibraltar. Those classes were applied here. You taught
everywhere.
here as well.
Everywhere.
And you've given it up now, or you're still giving classes?
Well, I gave up teaching 10 years ago.
But they were popular classes in Gibraltar as well.
Well, I think they used to enjoy it.
You were successful in your profession.
Well,
in Gibraltar, even Gibraltar, where things can be very difficult.
We are just the same as anywhere else. The only place that took it rather like a porno was in England when I was there for 2 years, and I announced sexometrics, and I had men ringing me up and asking me what kind of underwear I was wearing, and panting and puffing at me.
They thought it was a call girls situation. The next thing I want to talk to you about, and I'm running out of time, is of course your book. Mm-hmm. You've written a book which is your biography, really,
yes,
your autobiography.
Right. Yes.
And it's called The Snake and the Tiger. Mm-hmm. Why the snake and why the tiger? You
have to buy the book and read it all through.
And our viewers as well,
and then you'll know why.
Won't you tell me this?
I'll tell you privately, but if the people want to know, they have to buy the book.
But it's such a strange title.
It's a horoscope.
It's the horoscope.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Chinese horoscope.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
The horoscope, in Chinese horoscope, the snake and the tiger don't go together. The yin and the yang don't go together.
They're opposites.
They're all opposite.
But doesn't that attract? The opposites attract? Plus and minus?
It all depends. But it's that.
And it's about your life and your experiences in all these different countries that you have been to.
Yes.
Now that you've come back to Gibraltar and you've been here for quite a few years now, how have you seen Gibraltar? After all those travels, one looks at Gibraltar in a different way, don't you feel?
Gibraltar is, at first sight, seems to be the same. People's attitude have changed a hell of a lot. If people's attitude go back to caring and being proud and knowing the values of things, then it might be a glorious place, because Gibraltar is gorgeous. Our little rock always pulls us back no matter where we've been. And whenever I go away and I come back and I see the rock, I think it's home. But there are quite a lot of things that should not be as they are.
Such as?
Well, for example, the children that are wearing clothes that are for hard women, they give the wrong impression. The freedom they have, you don't have to stay until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning out to have a good time. What the heck are they doing? The lack of social grace and manner. Mind you, where I live, I have a set of young boys that are real gentlemen. They always open the door. They offer to carry things for me, and they're lovely. I'm very lucky. But I'm generalizing, which sometimes is not so good. But on the whole, we have come back late at night. We've seen all these girls dressed up, barely covering themselves, young girls of 10, 12 years of age.
And the political situation, do you think we are safe, that nobody's going to try and sell us down the river like the Labour government did recently, a few years ago?
Listen, I'm too old now to go into politics. I suppose I would make some changes if I could, but I don't think I'm going to go into it with you.
I've virtually run out of time. Where can we get the book? We'll give you a plug, since you won't tell us what it's about, other than it's about your
life.
I've
given you a very good hint.
You've given me a hint.
The book is on sale on all the bookstores, the leading bookstores in Gibraltar, and the outlets like Macintosh Hall and Rainbow and that. So anybody who wants to know more about me, if they're interested, and about what they can do to enjoy life, go and get one.
Okay, well, I wish you a lot of luck. Thank you for being with us in Camera. That's Lydia Armstrong, and that's In Camera for tonight. We'll be back next Monday. Until then, good night.